reporting. Straight ahead on IU NewsNet, a deadly mass shooting at Michigan State University has students here wondering, is IU prepared for an active shooter?
Plus, there's a violent and graphic video from the Monroe County Jail. How a brawl left an inmate with broken bones and an officer terminated.
And the city of Bloomington gathers artisans and creators of all kinds for their first Black business market. We'll take you there. IU NewsNet starts now.
Welcome to IU NewsNet. I'm Jonathan Breckler.
And I'm Lucinda Larnach. What happened this week on the campus of Michigan State University has our students on campus asking safety questions. A shooter opened fire at two of the busiest buildings on MSU campus, killing 3 students and critically injuring 5 more. The shooter has no known ties to the university and took his own life as authorities frantically searched for him. The campus suspended all activities in the days since, including athletic and academic operations. IU Pamela Witten has deep ties to the university dating back to 1998, where she served as a professor and dean of the College of Communication Arts and Sciences. We reached out for a personal statement, but an IU spokesperson directed us to campus safety officials.
Many students here at IU Bloomington also have family and friends at Michigan State University. And whether or not IU students know anyone at MSU, almost every undergraduate has grown up in a generation that has been preparing for an active shooter since grade school. Currently, the advice for students comes down to 3 words: run, hide, fight. But do students know what that really means or how it works in an emergency? I went out to ask. So if I said the words run, hide, fight, do you know what that means?
Not exactly, no.
Yes.
I feel like it's common sense, yeah.
It's just kind of something that they taught us in school since like forever.
I guess just like your flight or flight instinct.
How prepared do you think that IU would be if we had an active shooter here?
I mean, I'd hope to think that we were prepared, but I don't think we'd be that prepared.
They'd be all right.
I think they'd be pretty unprepared for that.
I agree.
I always see police are on campus, so I feel like that's a good thing. Like they would be really quick to the scene.
Honestly, I don't think it'd be that prepared.
You might be surprised to learn that safety experts say that the first thing students should do in the event of an active shooter is to silence your cell phone so it doesn't make noise if the shooter is nearby.
So just what is the plan here at IU? What happens if an active shooter threatens campus safety? IU NewsNet Liz DeSantis has been investigating and joins us here in the studio. Liz?
Thanks, Lucinda. IU had its preparedness tested last year, and staff members have expressed concern that IU is not ready if something like what happened at MSU were to happen here. I sat down with IU Police Chief Jill Lees and IU's emergency management team this week to learn more.
IU had a small test of emergency preparedness last September when reports of an unarmed man in the sewer system forced IU Police Department to evacuate Franklin Hall on campus. IU staff members say that IUPD executed the evacuations less than smoothly.
The students that were upstairs were in a classroom. They still, didn't know what to do. They were crying. What do we do? Do we leave? Do we stay? No one knew.
IUPD's police chief, however, has a different account of how the evacuation went.
Were there any lessons that came out of that experience that you would apply moving forward to an approach involving a critical situation?
I think that approach worked really well in that case. Yes, the IU Notify, though, came out first. And then obviously our team was had heavy presence in the area and were able to facilitate that very effectively.
In response to the events during the evacuation, the emergency management team is conducting active shooter preparedness training in the media school tomorrow to help staff members like Darla feel more prepared in the future.
A lot of the staff members and faculty have come up. They're really concerned that we do not know what to do. I do have a panic button now. I've had to use it one time.
In the event of a mass shooting, the first things most students can expect to see is an update from IU Notify. IU's emergency management team advises those at the scene to run, hide, and fight, and then follow instructions from first responders on the scene.
You don't just send out a blast text message and say, quick, everybody run out of the building, because you want it controlled. You want people to go in a safe way that you know you have officers that can provide security. And so generally it's done sort of door by door, room by room to do that sort of work.
IU Bloomington Director of Emergency Management said that sometimes IU Notify text messages may not come soon enough to help students actually on the scene, making information from police officers on the ground even more important.
It can take 4.5, 5 minutes for everybody to get their IU Notify message. And we know the average active shooter incident lasts somewhere between 4 and 6 minutes. And so you can't necessarily rely on getting that IU Notify message.
Summerlot says that less than 40% of students are enrolled to receive IU Notify notifications to their cell phone. But those on campus can also see these critical announcements on social media and all screens campus-wide.
Students can receive instantaneous updates from IU Notify by downloading the Rave Guardian Safety app at protect.iu.edu.
The Rave Guardian Safety app, I'm not sure that I know what that is.
Yeah, so the Rave Guardian Safety app is a part of the program that all new students have to complete as part of a new student orientation. And this year, less than 10% of freshman students actually downloaded this app like they were supposed to.
Wow, that's astonishing for a class of over 9,000 people. That should be something that they are really making sure to download. Well, thanks, Liz.
Thanks, Liz. IUPD arrested and charged an IU student after police say he tried to break into a Tulip Tree apartment and attacked 2 female residents. According to records, Ishmael Garcia was under the influence of psychedelic mushrooms when he tried to follow 2 women from the elevator back to their apartment. He reportedly said he, quote, wasn't going to rape her and, quote, nothing bad was going to happen. Police say he pushed the door open and began taking his clothes off before tackling one of the women, but both were able to get away. Garcia is charged with battery resulting in bodily injury and breaking and entering. On the other side of the law, some disturbing images have emerged from the Monroe County Courthouse. Last week, we showed you the deteriorating conditions of the jail cell.
This week, it's a video showing a corrections officer beating an inmate in a jail cell. IU NewsNet Ashton Hackman joins us with the story. Ashton?
Lucinda and Jonathan, the video is jaw-dropping. What started as a medical checkup on an inmate ended with blood and an officer out of a job. Now, we must warn you, the video you are about to see is graphic.
Medical observation. Okay, you understand?
Newly released body cam footage shows Monroe County corrections officers attempting to take an inmate to medical observation.
For your safety, for our safety, I'm ordering to go in there.
The sheriff says that inmate Marcus Ford refused to get looked at, even threatened the officers. Minutes later, the officers entered the cell, and that's when the fight became more physical.
Ford, come on.
You can see the officers wrestling with Ford, and the corrections officer who was later fired began punching him. That officer also had a busted lip, after which he threw several more punches at the inmate. In the end, Ford suffered a broken nose and orbital bone. The sheriff fired the officer you see in the video.
When I ran for sheriff, I vowed to bring transparency, accountability, and that's what I'm doing today.
Sheriff Marte said the officer failed to follow a, quote, high standard requiring de-escalation whenever possible.
Although I have only been sheriff for a little more than a month, my goal remains to always ensure the highest level of excellence. I have the backs of all of my employees, but I will not hesitate to hold them accountable if they fail to follow our policies.
Sheriff Marte asked the Indiana State Police and the county prosecutor to investigate the incident, and neither came forward with criminal charges for the officer in question. As for the other officers, there is no word on if they will also face any repercussions.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the second incident that's happened with the sheriff, right?
Yeah, we had the jail photos showing the deteriorating conditions a few weeks ago. Now this incident, but it seems as if he's only been on the job since January, but it seems like he is trying to take accountability for his department.
Well, 2 terrible incidences which should be dealt with immediately.
Thanks, Ashton. As students become more concerned for their safety, how does the crime rate actually look here in Bloomington? The city presented its annual public safety report late last week, which highlighted a few key statistics. The police department reported an overall 1% decrease in crime, but a near 6% increase in violent crime. The department is seeing a significant climb in firearm-related emergency calls as well. The fire chief says his department is not meeting emergency response time goals yet. Mayor Hamilton highlighted one key public safety issue as well.
Among all of this, probably the greatest challenge continues to be personnel. Nationally, every city and state in America seems to be struggling to hire and retain sworn police officers.
Mayor Hamilton says that the city will increase compensation to the fire department and its firefighters this year.
When we come back, how an IU physics professor won big with the US Department of Energy. We'll show you why they're giving him nearly $2 million to continue his research.
Plus, an earthquake in Turkey has left thousands dead. We'll tell you how it's shaken the IU community and how they're coming together in spite of it.
The situation remains dire in Turkey a week and a half after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake collapsed buildings and houses as people slept. The death toll has surpassed 40,000. Even here in Bloomington, Turkish citizens have struggled to make contact with loved ones. IU Turkish Student Association is doing whatever it can to help. In Bloomington, the Turkish citizens watched the disaster play out with even more alarm than the rest of us, with some people dear to them.
Some of them lost their family members and friends, but some of them, they were lucky and they were still alive.
As a group, they mourn but have mobilized, coming together to do what they can as a community.
We try to do something. We pray first, but pray is not enough for now because we see some people need our help.
They have set up a GoFundMe page, a way for Hoosiers to make a real impact halfway across the world. Less than 10 days after the earthquake, IU's Turkish Student Association were able to raise over $21,000 helping those affected by the earthquake, calling upon those in IU Bloomington's community, students and faculty alike, to raise money for those 5,000 miles away, all at the press of a button. The response to the fundraising is even more than they had imagined. And beyond the monetary support, they've been given a platform. On Monday, they'll speak on a panel about the ongoing needs, raising awareness, and they hope more money.
You know, it's not too much, but it is what we can do.
While financial help is integral to making change, what IU Turkish citizens need now more than ever is community.
So it doesn't matter where are you from, your religion, your race, your ethnicity, it doesn't matter. It's just all about humanity. So we just need to help each other.
Help that knows no boundaries and no miles. There are miraculous stories of rescues even this week. But this long after the quake, rescue crews say it is highly unlikely there will be many more.
The CDC just released alarming statistics regarding the mental health of teenagers, especially teenage girls. According to the new statistics, 3 in 5 teenage girls report feeling, quote, persistently sad or hopeless. That's the highest number in a decade. 30% say they have seriously considered attempting suicide. More than 40% of boys and girls reported their regular activities were impeded by feelings of sadness and hopelessness. When it comes to LGBTQ+ teens, 52% said they struggle with mental health issues, and 1 in 5 of that percent have attempted suicide. Lastly, 14% of teenage girls say they were forced into having sex, meaning on average more than 1 in 10 young women are sexual assault victims.
Will Indiana legalize cannabis? The new legislative session is bringing several bills before lawmakers to legalize, decriminalize or regulate the use of marijuana. IU NewsNet's Tanaya Jones takes a closer look.
Lighting up a joint or using any form of marijuana is illegal in 9 states, and that includes Indiana. Legal or not, marijuana has gone mainstream. Now used by the young, old, and nearly every age in between, marijuana has always been illegal for recreational and medicinal uses. But some people say it's time to try again and change that.
I'm disappointed that Indiana has spent so long trying to legalize weed and being unsuccessful at it. Weed has been scientifically proven to be beneficial in many cases, and many of the arguments against it are generally not based in science.
Supporters of bills to decriminalize marijuana or lessen restrictions on those who use it say it can do 2 things: add money to Indiana's bottom line and help create space in jails.
It does have economic implications, of course. There's a lot of tax revenue that you can have from legalizing weed, but more than that, it just stops us from throwing people in prison who shouldn't be there for doing things that aren't really harming anyone else.
Indiana State Representative Jake Takasha stated Indiana has officially become an island of prohibition. Takasha authored House Bill 1039, which would allow cannabis after marijuana is removed as a federal Schedule I controlled substance. Another proposed bill, Senate Bill 70, would decriminalize the possession of 1 ounce or less of marijuana. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb says the topic of decriminalization is open for discussion, but in his opinion hasn't budged. He does not favor legalizing it in any way.
Delta 8 THC, which is sold legally in smoke shops and gas stations, has made a big impact on the cannabis and the marijuana scene. These products are proven to get you high, but users say that it has a milder usage than the Delta 9 THC, which is also sold legally in every state.
Some IU students have set up tables in Ballantyne Hall and the IMU for 2 weeks now to get student and faculty signatures. They say it's high time to make a change. For IU NewsNet, I'm Tanaya Jones.
In all, there are 13 marijuana-related bills coming before the state lawmakers this session.
IU Physics Department is in the spotlight this week after Professor Adam Szczepaniak was awarded a massive grant, $1.8 million from the U.S. Department of Energy. Szczepaniak and his colleagues have been working on a project they call ExoHad, the pursuit of the properties of hadrons under abnormal conditions. Hadrons are the combination of protons and neutrons. The money will fund research to better understand gluons, the glue that helps build universal matter.
So with the data that will come out from these experiments, the group of theorists that we have in this proposal will be able to then make the analysis and compare with what also has been much more robust theoretical predictions that happened over the last few years.
Several IU professors are involved in the nuclear physics project, along with collaborators from across the world.
All this month, IU NewsNet is bringing you stories of Black success in the community and here on campus. Bloomington is celebrating Black History Month in a big way. IU NewsNet reporter Carly Rasmussen takes us to a business market with a unique flair.
Believe it or not, the Cat's Closet doesn't make clothes for your furry friends. It's a vintage resale shop that is changing the game for inclusive fashion.
They've got great tamales there. I feel like as a Black plus-size woman myself, there's not a lot of accessibility to fashionable and affordable clothes if it's not fast fashion. So if we can slow down our fashion intake while also not breaking our pockets, it's very important.
Clarissa decided to start her business during the COVID-19 pandemic.
During COVID, I lost my financial aid in college, so I needed a way to pay my tuition. So I started selling my own closet, and it made a lot of money.
Now, after dropping out of college to pursue her business full-time, Cat's Closet is one business of many that is featured in Bloomington's first Black business market.
We want to highlight organizations, coalitions, Black businesses, make them visible to our community members, as well as give them an opportunity to share what they do.
It doesn't matter if it's clothing, jewelry, or even a robot. City Hall looks a little different this time of year, and it won't be the last time.
Now, we're really happy that this event has been successful this year, and we're hoping to grow it.
The event is paying homage to the first black market on Kirkwood that was firebombed by a member of the Ku Klux Klan in 1968. Now, the market serves as a reminder of where the community came from and where we're going.
You know, we didn't get here by accident. The theme of this year's Black History Month for the city of Bloomington is Black innovation. So really highlighting some of those Black inventions that we use today, such as the doorknob, such as the fire extinguisher, hairbrush, very simplistic things that make everyday life easier.
So while this is the first iteration of this Black business market for the city of Bloomington, it definitely won't be the last. For IU NewsNet, I'm Carly Rasmussen.
Coming up, if you're a basketball fan, then this is the place to be. The men are having a good season, but the women are on fire as one of the top teams in the nation.
And how an Olympic diver from IU is diving right back into the water here on campus. A one-on-one interview in IU NewsNet Sports coming up next.
Welcome back. Ashley Horner joins us now with sports, ranging from the diving board to the basketball court.
Yeah, it's been a huge week in sports, so let's dive in quickly. Let's start with basketball. Indiana women's basketball continues the backstretch of the Big Ten play, taking on another ranked opponent in number 13 Ohio State. Grace Berger starts off in Columbus, driving through contact for the bucket. Indiana had a massive second quarter, scoring 30 points. Mackenzie Holmes dishes the ball to Sarah Scalia, who drains a three-pointer. Just before the half, Holmes finds Scalia again, who nails a three, one of her 6 in the game. Scalia had 24 off the bench Monday night. Indiana up big late. Mackenzie Holmes beats her defender for another easy bucket. She scored a career-high 33 points on 15 of 18 shooting. The Hoosiers closed an 83-59 romping of the Buckeyes, their Division I leading 8th win over a ranked opponent this season.
Well, we'll see. Emma, I mean, we're still fighting for the national respect. I'm eager tonight to see if what that looks like for us. But
Indiana returns home this week for 2 critical matchups in the Big Ten race. If the Hoosiers beat Michigan on Thursday, they will host in-state rival Purdue on Sunday for a chance to clinch a share of the Big Ten title. Indiana hasn't won a regular season conference title since 1983 and would have a chance to clinch Sunday in front of the program's first ever sold-out crowd. Indiana closes the season on the road against Iowa, who currently sits in second place in the Big Ten. Now let's talk about men's. Tough night last night as the 14th ranked men's basketball team were looking to clinch the number 2 spot in the Big Ten, but barely fell to the Northwestern Wildcats. Early in the first half, Indiana coming up short in their defense game as Chase Audige with a step back to take the game 12-14. Woodson said to the team came out overly hyped, Trace Jackson Davis just making one of his 3 shots in the first half. Indiana fans gets fired up after Woodson and the Indiana bench received 2 technical fouls after Woodson tapped the ref on the shoulder. Indiana had a way more productive second half as Hood Schifino gets the jumper. Miller Kopp tips the inbound to TJD, where he takes it to the rim to tie the game. With only 4 seconds left in the game, Boo Buie pulls up with the jumper to finish off the Hoosiers. With the 62-64 loss, the Hoosiers now return home to Bloomington this Saturday for a second date with Illinois. Media school students get a treat yesterday as Indiana Director of Athletics Scott Dolson dropped by the media school. Dolson spoke about his experiences while handling name, image, likeliness issues during the time so far at Indiana. While allowing students to ask questions, Dolson spoke about the different NIL collectives at Indiana, such as Hoosiers for Good. In addition, Dolson touched upon topics like federal legislation for NIL, content creation, and how non-athletes can get more involved. But for Dolson, these conversations are about more than making the student athletes money.
I spent so much time working on the business side of college athletics that sometimes you can be in so many different meetings that you lose sight of why we're really here. And whether it's our own student athletes or just coming out and visiting with our overall student population, I love it. It gives me energy, and it's fun dialogue.
After the hour was over, Dolson spent time after the meet students and discussed future NIL endeavors at Indiana University. Indiana Swim and Dive has produced many Olympians, but not all of them come back to compete for their college team. IU NewsNet Catherine Hawkins brings us a closer look at the star of the diving team, an athlete with medals to prove it.
IU sixth year Andrew Capobianco dove his way into pools of success throughout his diving career.
It's just such an honor to compete for a school that's given you so much.
At the mere age of 23, Capobianco is a 5-time junior national champion, a 3-time senior national champion, and is a member of the senior national team, the World Cup team, and the Pan Am American team. His dream to reach the Olympics was already set in motion when he chose IU for college.
I was coming to a team that had 3 Olympians already, and so I chose IU to kind of get onto that path.
This dream became a reality when Capobianco competed in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, earning a silver medal for the synchronized 3-meter dive with his diving partner, Michael Hickson.
Yes!
Capobianco has competed at the highest levels for diving, both figuratively and literally. After winning the silver medal in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, he decided to come back here to IU, not only for his 5th year, but also for his 6th year.
Capobianco says competing for IU is an extremely high honor, and although it was difficult to find a purpose diving at a lower level, his teammates and staff make it all worth it.
It's kind of been my purpose is not only to perform well for them, but also to bring up those younger divers on the team and teach them how to kind of be leaders and role models like the older people on the team did for me.
The dive team loves having him around, especially the younger ones who really look up to him.
He's such a great leader and a role model to look up to because he's been through everything that I'm going through right now.
As his coach said, Capobianco's career is far from over, and it should be fun to see what's next for him.
That was our own Catherine Hawkins reporting, and she's no stranger to the water. She's on the IU women's water polo team, which is having a good season. They actually have a game coming up this Saturday. Do you think you guys could possibly make it out? I think it would be fun to go watch Catherine.
I definitely think I'd love to go see Catherine.
Absolutely. We need to go see her in action.
Definitely. Thanks, Ashley.
No problem.
One more thing before we go. The Indianapolis Colts have a new head coach, Shane Steichen. Fresh off the Super Bowl, Philadelphia offensive coordinator says it's a job he's always wanted, head coach. He replaces Frank Reich, who was fired, and interim coach Jeff Saturday, who stepped in for a while. Steichen became a little choked up as he thanked his family, the Eagles, and even his high school coach for being able to live out his dream. He presented a plan for the Colts quarterback position, which proposed selecting a top college prospect in the upcoming NFL draft. The Colts have the 4th round draft pick. That's it for IU NewsNet for now. We have a behind-the-scenes student production team in the studio and the control room working for this broadcast. We thank them and we thank you for watching. I'm Lucinda Larnach.
And I'm Jonathan Breckler. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IU NewsNet. Take care, and we'll see you next week.